Welcome everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation. Today, we'll be exploring the fascinating world of the collection of the Quran. This is the first slide, so I want to give you a quick overview of what's coming up. We'll look into the history, significance, and how the Quran has been preserved over time. Let's get started and dive into this important topic together. During this era, from 609 to 632, the Quran was revealed to the Prophet in small segments over a span of 23 years. These revelations weren't random. They were responses to questions posed to the Prophet, providing guidance and clarification. They also served as advice, not only to the Prophet himself, but also to his companions, the Sahaba. Now, when we think about the preservation of the Quran during this time, it's quite remarkable. Initially, the Prophet would repeat the Quranic verses after Jibril, the angel, as he recited them. This was a way to memorize and internalize the revelations. But later, a divine command was given. The Prophet was instructed to listen carefully and focus on the recitation without necessarily repeating it immediately. This shift was crucial because it emphasized careful listening and memorization, ensuring accuracy and preservation. It set the foundation for how the Quran was collected and preserved, which is the key point of the next section, the collection of the Quran. This process was vital to ensure that the words revealed to the Prophet remained intact for generations to come. Let's take a moment to reflect on this beautiful verse from the Quran, Surah 75:15-18. It reminds us that Allah has taken on the responsibility of gathering and preserving the Quran in our hearts and making it easy to recite. As the verse says, "Move not your tongue with it, O Muhammad, to hasten with recitation of the Quran," emphasizing that Allah himself is ensuring the ease of memorization and recitation. This is a key point, Allah's support in helping us remember and recite his words. We see that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was able to remember what was revealed to him effortlessly, which highlights the divine assistance in learning the Quran. Furthermore, the Prophet shared this knowledge with his companions, teaching them using various strategies. One important method was reciting aloud during Salah, which allowed the companions to hear parts of the Quran daily. This consistent exposure helped them internalize the words. Additionally, new Muslims were taught specific parts of the Quran to incorporate into their Salah, making the process of learning and teaching the Quran a daily, natural part of life. All of these points connect to the larger theme of continuous learning and the importance of making Quranic recitation a regular, accessible practice. It's about building a connection with the Quran that is both personal and communal, and Allah's guidance plays a central role in that journey. As we see here, they were encouraged to learn and teach the Quran, inspired by the Prophet's statement, "The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it." This highlights the importance placed on both acquiring and sharing knowledge of the Quran within the community. The Prophet also made it a point for those who could read and write to write down the verses as they were revealed. This was a crucial step in preserving the message, allowing both memorization and written documentation to go hand in hand. Through these methods, many of the verses were memorized by believers, and they also kept written records, which helped solidify the content. However, because of differences in when people accepted Islam and their individual memorization abilities, only a few Sahaba are actually known to have memorized the entire Quran. Most people memorized portions of it, which was highly valued and laid the groundwork for later compilation. Interestingly, during this initial period, the Quran was not compiled into a single book. Instead, the verses were spread out and preserved in various forms, which is an important point to understand in the history of the Quran's compilation. Certainly, here is the word-by-word narrative script for slide 5 of 5. The Quran was written down on anything that was available. The companions wrote the verses of the Quran on various objects such as date palm leaves, flat stones, tree bark, wood, and even dried animal skins. They also used shoulder blades of sheep or camels to record the divine words. This method of recording shows the importance and urgency of preserving the Quran during that time. It highlights how the early Muslims prioritized safeguarding the message, even with limited resources. This part of our history reminds us of the dedication to preserving the Quran in its original form, which is central to our faith and practice.